So for the first time ever, I'm gonna give you a tutorial about how to buy cars and what type of cars you should avoid. This is gonna be a tutorial of generally different types of regional specs in the world, and in the next videos we're gonna talk about different regional specs and what they mean and what you should look out for based on that regional spec. If you look at American spec cars, most of the cars are damaged, and you can find damages of different extents. So, how do you decide which car is worth buying? Now, on flaw cars, we remove the cars or we don't display the cars that are non repairable or they have way too much damage, and it increases the risk of not just your investment but your safety. So, you need to decide what is your damage tolerance, like how much of a damage you can bear and repair. Most damages are repairable, and the more damaged a car is, the better deal you're going to get. This is specifically for American spec cars because those cars are written off by the insurance companies and handed over to the auctions. So once you know what your damage, okay. So once you know how much damage you want to deal with, you can then look at our platform and then choose cars based on the damages, and you can actually filter them by the primary damage or secondary damage that you're looking at. So the first thing I want to talk about is damage tolerance. Damage tolerance is the amount of damage that the car has. Now, every country that a car comes from has different types of levels of damages. So, for example, cars that come from the US or from Canada are salvaged vehicles, and they can be repaired easily as well as in a difficult manner as well. But the goal here is that you want to buy a car which you're comfortable with, especially if it's your first time buying. If you are buying a car that is highly damaged, you're going to get it at a better price. If it's slightly damaged, then you're going to get it at a lower price. The second thing I want to talk about is mileage. So when it comes to mileage, on our website, we don't show cars that are more than 130,000 kilometers driven and older than 2019, or specifically like 7 or 8 years old. The reason for that is because the older a car gets or the more it's driven, the more likely it is that it's going to have flaws in it. So, what we do is we pre filter these cars and we put them on our platform. But again, as I can tell you, that when you're importing a car from outside, or if you know someone who's imported a car from outside and he's trying to sell you that car and it has very low mileage, I would highly recommend that you inspect that car before buying it, because when you're importing a car from another country to UAE, you can actually change the kilometers and you would never find out that the kilometers have been changed. So if it's too good to be true, it probably is, right? That's one thing. And then another point that I want to talk about is structural awareness. Structural awareness is the structural integrity of the vehicle. So, a vehicle is comprises of the chassis, right, which is the backbone of the vehicle, as well as body panels, and obviously different other parts as well. So, if you look at our website, we try to avoid structural damages. And if you end up finding a car which has a structural damage on our website and you add it to your cart, we're definitely going to look at that car before we tell you, okay, you should or you shouldn't buy it. We also have an AI analyzer on our website, which is called Flaw Finder. So you can use that to see if the car has any structural damage. Now, you might see a car which has a lot of like bumpers missing, and the hood is bent, and there's some fender that's dented. So funny enough, even though it looks scary, it's actually not that bad. UAE is home to the biggest spare parts market in the world, and we can find almost any part here. and we can get it repaired easily. The thing that you need to worry about is flooded vehicles, electrical issues, again, structural damage. So we try our best to filter out all those cars so that you don't even need to worry about it. If you go to auction websites or other suppliers, they end up putting all the vehicles and they say, hey, you know what, you can figure it out yourself. But we try to, reduce the risk over there. The final point I want to talk about is comparing GCC spec with non-GCC spec cars. I agree that GCC spec cars usually have the best resale, but vehicles that come from outside usually have better features, they're sold at better prices, and because you're buying them at better prices, you're more likely to sell it at a better price as well. So it depends on where you're sourcing the car from. Like cars from the US, if you're buying a car from an auction, usually insurance prices are very high in the US, so the insurance companies write off those cars very quickly with very minimal damage, and they sell for like 20% less than the market rate here in UAE. If you're importing a car from Japan, these vehicles are known for quality. They have original low mileage, very feature rich. If you're importing a car from China, Chinese brands are already very affordable, but when you source a used car from China, it's much cheaper than buying it locally, especially when sometimes these brands don't have stock in UAE. So at Flaw Cars, we help you to find these cars, to make sure that they're in a good condition, and then we ship them for you. We give you full transparency on the price, on any, auction costs or anything like that. We're very transparent. We try to be as transparent as possible because all the information is not always out there, but we do try our best, and we're always improving our platform as well. So after I've shared these general buyer rules for you, always keep your damage threshold in mind, keep your budget in mind, look at the landed cost, compare it with the UAE market through our system, because we try our best to give you accurate market rates, so you know that you're definitely saving money. And again, our team is always available on WhatsApp and on the phone, and I'll see you in the next video.